Patch notes breakdown time. Retro, are you here? Overwatch 2 retail patch notes, August 10th, 2023. Overwatch 2 Invasion is now available. Enjoy the story missions. Overwatch 2 Invasion is now available. Enjoy the new Invasion story missions, all new skins and cosmetic rewards in the Invasion Battle Pass. Introducing Illari. Using solar threading augmentation, Illari strikes down her enemies, harnessing the power of the sun. We just went over the abilities one more time. Solar rifle, long range, auto charging rifle. It's a hit scan. Or medium range healing beam does 120 damage or 120 healing per second. The hit scan does 75 damage per shot, plus a 1.5 times chat or 1.5 times crit multiplier. Outburst ability 1 launches you in the direction you are moving, knocking back enemies. We showed that earlier. If you haven't seen the video that went out on main, or if you weren't here for chat, I showed it. Healing Pylon, Captive Sun. Flashpoint, new game mode. Flashpoint is the newest core game mode available on 2 of the biggest maps to date. Servasa and New Junk City. Okay. Is there anything... This is just like the description of how it works. Basically, it's control point, but it's faster and there's a bunch of points. Honestly, this isn't going to do it much justice until somebody actually sees it. The team to first successfully capture 3 of 5 flashpoints wins the match. That's the important part. Invasion story missions... new limited time event, King's Row Underworld. So this is the regular story mission, or sorry, not story mission, the PvE mission that's not part of the story, I believe. And I also think this is going to rotate weekly. There'll be like different challenges for it. We'll have to see how it plays. All right, general updates. Firing range changes, a bunch of challenge changes. Weekly coins requirements are updated from 4.811 to 4.912. Okay. On fire changes, ping system changes. Text chat, unfiltered setting for all text chats has been removed. Players will have a choice to have their chat settings between friendly and mature. Players that previously had text profanity filters to unfiltered will now be applicable filters set to mature. Okay. Top 500 leaderboards. The number of wins required to appear on the top 500 leaderboards has been increased from 25 to 50. It's not going to really do anything. It's just band-aid fix. Armor updates. Armor health damage reduction is now additive with other sources of damage reduction and has a maximum cap of 50%. That's interesting. That means, like, for example, Fortify for Orisa, because, like, I'm pretty sure it got buffed, would be, like, the cap. So if you got, like, nanoed on top of it, it wouldn't do anything. But on top of that, too, that's, like, ram block. So if you had armor plus Ramatra block, you did, like, no damage. That would stop that now and cap it at 50%, which is kind of wild. So that's like a giant Orisa and Ramatra nerf. Tanks D.Va cooldown reduced from 4 to 3.5 seconds. I think we actually could end up getting a D.Va meta because Illari's ult, which is so insane, is pretty easy to eat with D.Va. So I think D.Va might get played a bunch. Eject mech pilot is now damage immune for 0.4 seconds while ejecting. I hate this change because this removes a tech with like Soldier 76 is a good example of like as they're ejecting, you helix rocket them. And you can basically just like insta kill the baby D.Va. I don't really like that because like that's a tech that's been in the game for like 7 years, so I don't like getting rid of that. Doomfist. Doomfist is performing well overall, but tends to have more deaths on average compared to other tank heroes. Lowering the seismic slam cooldown will reduce downtime in his ability rotations and translate into more survivability due to the increased mobility and potential for generating overhealth more often with his passive ability. Additionally, power block will always reduce explosive damage from a projectile stuck directly to Doomfist, even though normally you'd have to face the direction of the incoming damage to block it. So that's 2 buffs. Seismic slam cooldown's a straight buff. And power block means that like if you get hindered, you will get charged from it. So 2 Doomfist buffs. They've changed the cooldown of his seismic slam multiple times. So, oh boy. Ramatra. Developer comments, similar to Doomfist's power block, Ramatra's block ability will now always apply damage reduction to projectiles stuck directly to him. His Annihilation ultimate ability was also being generated slightly too quickly for how impactful it can be. So we are increasing the ultimate cost. Block now reduces damage from stuck projectiles, and also the ultimate increase to 12% Block now reduces damage from stuck projectiles. So very small nerf, pretty big, sorry, very small buff, pretty big nerf, and like, I would say this is overall probably a Ramattra nerf because the armor changes as well. So Ramattra definitely worse. Sigma has always had what somewhat floatier movement controls than most heroes in order to match his character's movement animations. However, this led players to feel like his tank roll passive ability wasn't reducing the amount he would be knocked back since it took him longer to stop than other tanks. We've now adjusted this to the standard hero movement values to make his gameplay interactions feel more consistent. Base movement ground deceleration increased to match standard heroes movement. That's such a weird change. I feel like it's going to make Sigma just feel odd for a bit. You know what I mean? Winston. Developer comments, Winston's Tesla Cannon ranged attack had a decently long charge time relative to the damage it deals. These adjustments will make it more responsive to charge and fire, which can be useful for situations such as finishing off a low health enemies attempting to flee, or poking at enemies before leaping in. This comes at a cost of taking longer time to recover after firing, which in some cases will be weaker as a burst damage combo with jump pack and primary fire. Secondary fire charge time reduced from 1.2 to 1 second, and secondary fire recovery time increased from 0.5 to 0.75. I don't know how that's going to be. We'll see. Just that's like a trade-off. Very small nerf, very small buff. We'll see. Bastion. Developer comments, there are several small tuning adjustments to Bastion here, with the goal of improving overall effectiveness, as Bastion's weakness of being a large and immobile target has proven tough to overcome, even with such powerful damage potential. Tactical grenades maximum damage explosion falloff reduced from 70 to 50%, detonation time reduced from 0.5 to 0.35, recoil adjusted to recover more quickly, projectile size increased from 0.2 to 0.25, impact damage increased from 15 to 30. So like straight buffs across the board, except this one. Configuration recon, reload time reduced from 1.5 to 1.2 seconds. Transforming into configuration assault now repairs 50 armor health. I really don't like that. We're going on this route where like everyone has self-healing and like self-armor repair just by changing into configuration at like the turret mode. That is so crazy. I don't like that at all. Also, targeting state movement increased from 20 to 25 meters per second for his artillery. So buff, 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 nerf. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buffs and 1 nerf to Bastion. Good luck out there. Cassidy, even more powerful and reworked magnetic grenade. Cassidy has still been underperforming, so we're reverting his maximum health back to 225, having his gun damage fall off reach its full reduction sooner, and restricting the maximum range on magnetic grenade to help solidify his position as close to mid-range damage dealer. Base health increased from 200 to 225. Peacekeeper damage fall off range rescaled from 25 to 45 meters to 25 to 35 meters. And the magnetic grenade projectile now has a maximum travel time of 1.5 seconds. Slow amount reduced from 30 to 25 seconds. So small nerfs to his magnetic grenade, small nerf to his range, but now 225 Fat Cass is back. Hanzo, this is a really weird one. Despite being conceptually strange, this gameplay mechanic felt good and fluid to use as Hanzo. However, it often resulted in some frustrating behavior for enemy players to be alleviated without impacting Hanzo's overall effectiveness. They took away the ability to arrow draw progress, no longer preserve while wall climbing. So when you could pull your arrow back and then climb up, you'd have it pulled. They took that away, so that's gone. So pretty big Hanzo nerf. Honestly, not even that big. It just makes him like feel weird, you know? It's like that's a core mechanic that's been in the game since launch. So I don't know how I feel about that. Soldier 76. Helix rocket explosion damage reduced from 90 to 80, and visor cost increased by 10%. Just 2 straight nerfs. Small one, actually decent one to his Helix rocket. It's going back from 90 to 80 back to where it was before, and his ult is now a little bit more increased, but he still kept the left click damage increase to 19, I believe. So, Sombra. EMP frequency is a little too high given its relative power and the increasing cost. It will now also deal the usual percentage of max health damage to Lifeweaver's Tree of Life in Ultimate instead of treating it like a barrier and destroying it instantly. Ultimate cost increased by 15% and it no longer destroys Tree of Life. We haven't got to Lifeweaver yet, but overheal meta looking a little weird. We haven't got there though, we'll see. Torbjorn. Developer comments, we are continuing to add power to his rivet gun, as previous changes didn't quite make up for his turret damage decrease. So, primary fire recovery time reduced from 0.55 to 0.48, just straight up buff. His weapon swap time got reduced from 0.5 to 0.4, and the swing recovery time for his little forge hammer has been reduced from 0.75 to 0.6. So, Torb is going to be swinging that hammer much faster now and can swap faster. Just straight Torb buffs across the board. Ana. Everybody, especially if you're a support player in chat, I need you to sit down, take a breath, and try not to fall over. Ana's damage breakpoints change has proven too effective overall given her long range, so we're reverting it back to the previous value. Damage and healing per projectile reduced from 75 to 70. Unscoped projectile size increased from 0 to 0.1. So if you're hip firing with Ana, it's going to be a little bit easier to hit shots. But you're doing less damage and less healing, so that's tough. Brig's overall effectiveness and survivability has been high relative to other heroes. Let me say that again. Brig's survivability has been high relative to other heroes. So we're reducing the various shield health. We're also slightly adjusting the ultimate cost of rally as it has become more effective after the rework. But streamer, the rework of her ultimate was worse than the original, you stupid streamer. Yeah, okay, dude. Barrier health reduced from 300 to 250, and ultimate and cross increased by 6%. 2 straight nerfs to Brig. Kiriko. Protection Suzu now rewards more deliberate usage by increasing its healing when cleansing negative effects. It will no longer knock back enemies, as it wasn't particularly important to its overall design, and will now provide feedback for the impact. So, also, these kunai changes will make the weapon damage output more consistent and reduce some of the disparity between landing critical shots or not. Protection Suzu, knockbacks removed, healings reduced from 50 to 40. However, it heals for an additional 30 health when cleansing a negative effect. This is like Discord Orb, Anti-Nade, the Sun Ultimate, all that stuff counts. So even if your tank has Discord Orb on them, you'll get 70 healing instead of 50 healing. That's a very good power shift because it rewards players who use cleanse effectively and punishes the ones that try to go in the back line, look for kills, and then Suzu themselves and TP out. So honestly, I kind of like the change. This one, though, I don't know about. Damage increased from 40 to 45. Recovery time reduced from 0.55 to 0.5 seconds. However, the crit damage multiplier has been reduced from 3 to 2.5. So her crit damage is lowered pretty significantly. But body shots do 5 more damage. So, yeah, 112.5 instead of 120. Yeah, I don't know about that change, but... So I actually proposed way back in like season 1 or season 2 that they should raise this up a little bit more and then like lower this one a little bit more, so it makes it easier for like players that are like bronze to like plat to actually be able to play Kiriko effectively, but also still rewarding high level players. So I don't think this is as enough. I think this is honestly just like a straight nerf to Kiriko. So I don't know about that. Oh boy, the big ones here. They wrote a whole fucking novel. The Tree of Life outputs substantial healing, but often doesn't provide enough value for an ultimate ability. To increase its utility, any overhealing done via the Tree of Life is now converted to overhealth. Thorn Volley spread is now less random. We'll come back to it. Base health reduced from 200 to 175, but they gave him base shield health from 0 to 50. So we now have 225 Lifeweaver health, and 50 of that health is shield. So just like how they made the change to Wrecking Ball where the top was shield and it like recharges if you don't take damage for a few seconds, there's 2 things happening here. One, if you're not taking damage for 2 seconds, the support passive kicks in. And number 2, you also have the shields. So LifeWeaver is going to be getting healing to his health bar and his shield bar at the same time, effectively kind of doubling the recharge rate of how much he heals himself for. Plus, there's more changes. The rejuvenating dash heals increase from 25 to 50. So if you're not in a fight, not taking damage for a sec, or you're off to the side, you have the shield passive healing, you have the regular passive healing, and then if you start taking damage and you're looking it's looking a little bit spooky, a little scary, the dash now gives 50 healing instead of 25. Thorn Volley reduced spread on one of the 2 Thorn Volley projectiles fired by 25%. That's a pretty chunky pretty chunky buff to Thorn projectiles accuracy, meaning that spread is going to be a lot tighter. Life Grip mobility lockout duration increased from 0.45 to 0.75. That basically means, you know how you can cancel it? So, like, if you're as Winston that you got pulled away, you can, like, jump out of it. Instead of 0.5 seconds later, it's now 0.75, so you don't, like, accidentally jump out of it right away. I think that's a decent change, actually. And then LifeWeaver's Tree, 50% of Tree of Life's overhealing is now converted into overhealth up to a maximum of 100 overhealth. So you guys talked about how old Rally was so good before. Tree is now old Rally. Because it gives everyone overhealth if you're by the tree. So, remember that old ult? Yeah, it's Tree plus old Rally. Smile. Lucio, secondary fire damage boost reduced. Wait, what? They wrote the wrong thing. This is Mercy. It's Mercy gets nerfed. Her damage boost goes from 30 to 25%. I don't actually remember what the Lucio change is off the top of my head. So there's a Lucio change in there somewhere, but I don't know what it is. You think that's the end of the patch notes? It's not. Co-op hero updates. With the introduction of Overwatch 2's invasion story missions, we will have specific hero balance changes for multiple heroes to ensure players to have continuous challenge when playing in co-op modes like story mode and event missions. These changes are for PvE only. Heroes no longer passively gain ultimate charge over time, and ultimate cost increased in co-op game modes. Winston's secondary fire now chains up to 4 additional nearby enemies, dealing depreciating damage each chain, and the jump pack landing damage now increases while in the air up to 250% more damage over 2.5 seconds. So like talent trees? Kinda, I guess. Zarya's particle barrier duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. 2 to 3 seconds for both of them. Damage for Graviton Surge. Damage per second increased from 5 to 30 for 105 damage total. Energy passive energy generation rate reduced from 2 to 1.5 energy per second. Cassidy initial charge rate increased from 130 to 325 damage per second for Deadeye. Ramped charge rate increased from 260 to 650 per second. Now has a maximum damage cap of 1560 per target. Somebody who's just going to open the stream right now is going to see these patch notes and go, what the? Meanwhile, they don't know it's for it's for PvE only. Echo, damage per second increased from 50 to 85, as well as duplicate. Echo can now duplicate her allies in co-op modes. Duration increased from 15 to 20 seconds. Ultimate charge rate multiplier during duplicate increased from 4 to X to 9x, so you get 9 times as fast. Ult. Genji Shuriken increased from 27 to 29. Deflect increased from 2 to 3 seconds, and Dragon Blade from 6 to 8 seconds. Mei primary fire damage per second increased from 55 to 100. So I love how the Mei buff is literally just putting it back to what it was at live a couple months ago. That's funny. Hover jets and jump jets increased movement speed by 30%. Concussive blast explosion damage increased from 0 to 30. Barrage explosive damage increased from 30 to 35. And hover jet's maximum fuel increased by 20%. Torp turret goes from 11 to 15 damage. Tracer's pistols go from 40 to 60 ammo, and the damage is reduced from 5.5 to 5. They really reduced it? That's crazy. Pulse Bomb, explosion damage increased from 350 to 550. Brig damage increased from 50 to 60 on Shield Bash. Rally increased from 10 to 15 seconds. Rally does not increase barrier shield size in story missions. Wait, why? The heck? Inspire healing, total reduced from 75 to 55. Dude, Brig... Why is Brig nerfed in the co-op mode? Are you saying that she's too strong? Are you saying that Brig is too strong to play in PvE in her current state? Is that the message that's being sent here? Because that's hilarious. Oh, man. Lucio, cooldown reduced from 5 to 4 seconds on Soundwave. Speed boost now increases attack speed by 20% on Crossfade. Oh, that's pretty cool. Those are all PvE changes, by the way, so not PvP, so don't freak out. New map, Servasa, Junk City, and then a couple maps got, like, changes to morning, night, etc. Bunch of bug fixes. I'm not going to go through these because I don't think there's any that are really, really important right now. And I think that's it. I think that's our update. That's our Season 6 patch notes right there.